All right, we'll start this video with the new footage from Frontier's stream today.
To the world for the first time. We've seen
That's
juveniles
new
in the
footage,
Jurassic
maybe?
movies, and we've taken inspiration from those. But there's a
I think
huge
so.
amount of dinosaur species that we've not seen juveniles for in the Jurassic movies. So it's been a real journey of working with our partners at Universal, with noted paleontologists,
Mature timer.
including
Okay, this
Steve
is definitely
Bisciotti, who's a
new.
consultant on the movies as well. And concepting, iterating till
So
till we
a
get
mature
these
timer
juveniles that
definitely
as
confirms
you
it's
say, they're
not,
just absolute
we already
wonders
knew
to
there
kind
was an
of
ontogeny,
watch.
right?
And
They're just going to poop and
it's really incredible to kind of bring
appear as
those to
adults.
players for the first time. And it's the juveniles are spectacular, but it's that family unit as well.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, definitely new footage.
It's the juvenile, the female, and now the male.
Yeah,
well.
it's a big overhaul in terms of what the dinosaurs need to do. That
This
we've
is
had to go
new, I
into
think.
the inner workings of them.
Yeah,
to
this is
make sure
definitely
that
new.
now they can function distinctly. We've got familial species and herd species and more solitary species. So the way that we had to do lots of changes to behaviour.
Ooh, size difference.
Cool new juvenile
in the male female
behaviours. Parents calling out to them following the pace.
That's pretty cool. That's a way to get a bigger dilo
based
in.
on these differences, the different types of dinosaurs, you can get some, like I say, they're very familial, they'll only stick with mum and dad, and other ones that are more gregarious, possibly even to their own detriment, because they might end up following dinosaurs that aren't quite as happy being followed by them. But well, for example, juveniles might have different paleo needs to adults. If you've got a brachiosaur, with a great big long neck that normally feeds on high trees and leaves and
the
trees.
male looked quite a bit bigger.
Juvenile brachiosaur, it's not quite as tall. Might not be able to reach.
Not
so
like
you need to make sure
real life size, but like at least
the same
Jurassic
for some of
World
the
hologram
some of the
size.
small carnivores, when the juveniles, they can't really take down live prey, so you need to make sure they've got meat feeders. And again, social needs. Some juveniles are happier when there's a bunch of them together. Other ones, they need mum and dad around, and they're going to get distressed if they're not. So there's a whole bunch of these social dynamics going on that basically differentiate the species. So each time you've got a new species that you want to breed, there's more things to consider, to look after. Yeah. But it's worth it, because they bring you loads of cash. Juveniles are inherently appealing.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, you're running a theme park. You need to make some cold hard cash, and juveniles are one of the best ways to do that.
Right. Loads. If you pre-order that now, you will be able to get a hold of the Badlands set, which will be bringing iconic scenery pieces from the original Jurassic Park film to your park. So get in.
I think that first screenshot was new.
So.
All right, well, that's everything new that I saw in the stream that I recognized. Maybe some of that's repeated. Definitely some of the gameplay footage in the second segment was repeated, but some of it seemed to be new. And we've seen one of those Badlands building set images before, but I think 2 of the 3 screenshots were new there. I couldn't find them, at least looking online again to try and make sure. In terms of other things we saw, or we heard on the stream, didn't see, but heard, we know that, of course, you can build your pens using natural terrain instead of fences, but you do still need a gate so that the rangers can access it, which means you will need at least some small segment of fence, or at least a gap big enough to fit a gate in. We're not completely sure. We, of course, got the new juvenile footage. If you didn't notice what they were saying there during that segment, they confirmed that the juveniles have different needs than the adults. The juvenile carnivores won't hunt goats. They'll instead eat from meat feeders and presumably carcasses. Kind of analogous to a scavenger, which makes sense. And then they confirmed the baby sauropods will eat low vegetation instead of the high vegetation their parents eat, which makes perfect sense. They also confirmed that there will be different social needs for babies. Some babies will need like groups of juveniles to be happy. Some of them will need their parents to be happy. Some won't. Stuff like that. So it should be kind of interesting. They confirmed here, we knew this before, I think, from the leaks, but they did confirm that males are a separate research option in the trees. They also confirm, again, known, I'm pretty sure from the leaks, that there are special conditions for your nests that will enable them to breed, i.e. like some animals will need to be out of view, the nest will have to be away from the visitor area for them to use it, that kind of thing. We get some confirmation on the campaign structure. We knew again from the leaks with a little bit of speculation that it looked like we're starting in North America. That's been confirmed. We definitely start the campaign in North America. That's said explicitly in the stream. And we found out a little bit about how the nonlinearity works. The way it works is we we'll come back to other parks later in the campaign and unlock new spaces, right? So we will. It's kind of like some of the chaos theories in JW2, how you complete some sort of mission or condition and you get a new section of the park to build. Except in the campaign for 3, it's going to be you leave the island or the park, something else happens in a different park, or you unlock some sort of research or something. Then you can go back to a previous one and you'll have more space to expand into. So that'll be pretty neat. I really hope it actually is truly non-linear, because like they could be using it as a buzzword, right? You go back to a previous park, that's non-linear quotation marks, because you've backtracked. But that's non-linear only in like the very strictest sense, right? If the unlock conditions for each of the individual areas of the parks follow a linear path, then it's not really non-linear in my mind, right? If you do Park 1, Park 2, Park 3, then go back to Park 1, do the second half of Park 1, then go to Park 4, and then go back to 2 and do the second half of Park 2, and you do that every time you play through the campaign, that's linear. That's not non-linear. But you can use buzz to say it's non-linear because you're going back to a previous location, right? You get what I'm saying? So hopefully, it actually truly is non-linear. That's my hope. They talked a little bit about attractions, but they didn't confirm anything new. They talked a little bit about hot air balloons. We knew those were coming in. The hot air balloons are added to the game specifically to interact with the new verticality options you can have in a park of having these cliffs and stuff, which makes perfect sense. They say there's multiple new attractions. They point out the dinosaur encounter that we already knew about, the petting zoo attraction, and then that's where they stopped. They didn't confirm anything new beyond the 2 we already knew about. 2 is multiple. So no confirmation of any sort of river tour or boats, which is immensely disappointing. Another thing they confirmed is natural paths. So they confirmed there'll be new path options, which includes natural paths, which presumably are like dirt paths that are like organically situated into the environment instead of the concrete, very obvious path systems we have in JW 1 and 2. So that should be pretty cool. And then there was some discussion there on how the security system works. It looks like we'll probably be able to fully automate security, both in terms of like repairs and sedation. So theoretically, we could do a park build where we never control a vehicle. We literally act like a hands-off manager. And that might be pretty interesting. So hopefully that's true and that you can actually pull that off, because that'll be fun. And yeah, that's about it. Like, no new species. The only new model we see is what seems to be a slightly larger male Dilo, and that's like it. Which was pretty disappointing. No species profile, nothing. Like, hopefully we get some new footage soon, because I don't know why they didn't put like a species profile in this stream to like end it. That seems like it's like the perfect place for a species profile, and they didn't do it. Like, what are they waiting for? I don't get it. Well, anyway, at least it wasn't a complete bust. There was some new information, some new footage and screenshots. Just disappointing that there wasn't more.